So the prison, what they did, they implemented, and all this is coming from Tallahassee. It's like statewide from the state of Florida. It's mandatory. What they're doing is they got like nurses coming in every single dorm throughout the entire prison twice a day. I think one was like at 6 in the morning, and then another nurse would come in at like 5 p.m., 6 p.m. And that nurse would walk around and she would have like the little, the thermometer, and she would walk around and, she would take everybody's temperature, or she wouldn't even use a thermometer, I don't think. I think they had like the little gun, they just walk up. I don't know, I think different nurses had different things, whatever. But I think for the most part, the nurses had the guns. And I remember because like we'd be sleeping at 6 in the morning, they walk by and just, you wake up and they'd be over you with the little freaking, gun, trying to get your temperature. So they would do that twice a day, and if anybody had any like high temperature, like yo, they quarantining you. They'd take you from the dorm that you're living in, and they would remove you, and they would put you in that dorm that is specifically assigned for like the COVID-19 quarantine. So there's people in the dorm getting sick, and it's funny because like no one's really talking about it, because like one thing about prison that sucks is getting moved. Like that's literally one of the worst things that can happen in prison, unless like you're in a terrible spot, a terrible prison, a terrible dorm, you hate it there, whatever. But for the most part, like no matter how like savage, no matter how ratchet, no matter how bad the living conditions are, like you eventually get comfortable and you get a routine, you get used to the personalities and the people around you. So you just get familiar with your environment. So it sucks that whenever like out of nowhere you can just get transferred to another prison, or you can go to confinement, or you can get, moved to another dorm for whatever reason, and you got to relearn like a whole new environment like immediately. It's just like, survival instinct. You got to immediately just be aware of, you always have to be aware of your surroundings, aware of the people around you, how people move. You immediately classify and you know how to profile everything and everyone around you, because it's a part of survival. It's a part of adapting to different hostile environments. So, that's a part of prison that sucks, especially whenever you're doing years and you got a whole bunch of homies and you're just used to being in a certain spot and having your set schedule and your set routine. So whenever people are getting like these high temperatures and they're being taken from their dorm and they're being put in quarantine, like first of all, nobody wants to leave the dorm that they're in because it's uncomfortable. But also too, like they definitely ain't trying to go to like the COVID quarantine dorm, because we already see like on the news, yo, it's pretty serious. People are dying all throughout the nation. We're hearing about people getting sick on the pound, people going to the hospital, and nobody wants to go to that freaking quarantine dorm because, all right, you may have a fever, but do you really got COVID? And if that's where they're putting all the people who do got COVID, you're definitely going to get it when you go over there. So it's funny because people in the dorm are starting to get sick, but nobody wants to tell anybody they're getting sick. They're trying to like eat it. You know what I mean? They ain't talking about it. They'll just be like sleep comatose on their bunks for like 3-4 days, however like long it takes for them to get over it. And then it was funny too because there became like a hack whenever the nurses would come around and take everybody's temperature. If the people who were sick, who really didn't want to be quarantined. And the sad part is nobody's even caring or thinking about the people in the dorm that, okay, if I do got COVID, if I am sick, I don't want to be around everybody who's not sick because I'm going to get them sick as well. But hey, in prison, is every man for themselves. Nobody really cares. So even if the people do have COVID and they're sick, man, at the end of the day, man, there's prison. Everybody's only worried about themselves, man. They don't care about the next man. So, hey, they're not going to go ahead and voluntarily be like, yo, take me to quarantine, because they don't want to go over there. So what the hack is, people are getting their wash rags. They're going to like the sink, but in cold water under it. And before the nurse comes around and checks their temperature, they're like soaking these cold, wash rags into their forehead, hoping that whenever they run the gun, like the temperature check on their forehead, that their temperature won't be high. The cold water will actually bring it down. And they'll be able to hold it over the head, and that way like they won't get quarantined. So once again,